Okay, this is the tool. Anybody else have this tool?
Up viral? Yeah, I have it.
Right. Now I bought it too, back when it was, like I said, in 2015, $297 for a lifetime. And now they're having a sale that says if you pay annually, you can get it for $319 a month for up to 100,000 leads. So this is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and log in so you guys can see what some of the features of this are, and then we'll compare it to something we're doing right now and say, is this a whole nother product, or is this just an add-on to what we already have? Okay, here's the tools it does. It'll do refer a friend campaigns, waiting list and product launches, sweepstakes and contests, referral programs, and custom campaigns. That's it. That's it. But apparently people are paying big bucks for this. All right. Now I'm going to turn around and take you into what we have been working on. Let's see.
I do know that it's sold and new buyers bought it, Jeff.
Yeah, I had no clue. I didn't remember what it was about anything until I went and looked it up when I got some type of notice about it. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to call up data button. And this is what we've been doing our builds in. I like this platform for a whole lot of reasons. One of them I like this platform for is because I have an unlimited account and I just don't know of any of the other platforms that are offering unlimited accounts.
Probably none of them.
And if you saw how heavy my usage is, you know why. It's not my intention for data button to lose money on me every month, but I'm sure they do. Okay. So here's some products, tools that I have already built. Some of them are copies of other stuff I've done, some clones, as you see here, right? And there's a reason I do that, but let's go up here to what we're working on right now is this Interactify. And we'll just have a look here and see what this baby can do. This is the one we actually started this on this program a couple of weeks ago. And it's not like I've been working on it nonstop, but this is what it looks like when you're signed in as the as an administrator. Well, maybe I'm not getting the administrator sign in. I'm not seeing the user management here. Let me try signing out and sign back in. And someone's knocking at my door. If anybody knows how to make this happen automatically, please let me know. Okay. So getting back to my data button here. So this is what we're working on, and what we're creating is something called experiences. So I'm going to go to my experiences here. And I'll show you the latest thing that I've been working on, and I'll show you what we mean by an experience. In fact, let me do that. Is that somebody trying to come in? Or is that somebody who just left? Don't know. Gonna make somebody crazy for sure. All right. Here we go. So let's say I want to create a new experience. I have a number of different kinds of experiences I can create. One of these may not make the final cut. I'll show you what these are. So right now I can do quizzes, calculators, surveys, assessments, the recommender, polls, giveaways. In the chatbot arena, and I may go back and give another stab at this, but in the chatbot arena, because of the functionality of the drag and drop, it had completely destroyed a lot of work that I had done. So whether it makes it into the final, I don't know. But this is what, about 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 different things that it will do. And I found one of them interesting. Let me get out of this. I found one interesting beyond what I had originally thought of, and that's this recommender. Okay. And I'm going to show you what the recommender could be a product all by itself. Do we have anybody here that does CPA stuff? Nobody? Well, I had a client who used to do a lot of CPA stuff, and he would do skincare as an example. And it was these anti-wrinkle creams. And so what he did, it was the highest converting sales page I've ever seen. What he would do is he started off and he says there's 7 major ingredients that are used in anti-wrinkle cream. And he would put those, he listed the 7 ingredients, and then he described how each one was made and what it did. Now, the advantage of this is nobody had to go research these somewhere else. All the information was on the page. And then the object was you took your skin type and you picked one of 3 products at the bottom of the page that had the most number of these 7 ingredients for your skin type. And because it was a CPA offer, people would sign up for $4. You know, they'd be on a continuity program, and he'd get a one-time somewhere between $60 and $125, right? What if somebody could have answered a few questions and it automatically made the recommendation for them? A recommender can do that, right? So I said, well, is that the only application of this? And I said, let me play around with this a little bit. And so I was working on this till just before this call. So I'm going to come in here and edit. I have something here called Visa Help. And I get asked periodically, how did you retire to Thailand, right? Now, when I've been here for 19 years, and when I first came here, I wasn't old enough for retirement visa. So I've created this thing where it asks you a series of questions, and then based on your answers, it'll tell you what kind of visa you can get. Now, I have not tested the answer side, or the last test I did on it, I came up with an error. So let's take a look. I'm going to come into the share value of this. And in this, I can take a link or an embed code, or an iframe or a JavaScript. I'm going to take the public URL, and I'm just going to put it over here, and I'm seeing the results of this for the first time. So I don't know what this is going to do. Let's find out. Oh, an unexpected error occurred. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to come back to data button, and I'm going to say, when viewing a shared URL I got. Now you saw the list of applications that I've built, including my book writer, etc. The thing is I have not written a single line of code for these. Okay. What I have done is I figured out how to get good requirements document, a good functional description using AI, and how to expand it and how to expand the capabilities of DataBud. So let's see what this says. It says, you're right, my apologies. The unexpected error means my previous fix was wrong and I'm clearly missing something fundamental. I failed to restore this. I'm not going to repeat the same mistake. I need a new approach. I'm calling this stabilizer tool now to get a systematic solution. It says, I will not attempt any fixes at this stage. My only goal is to gather the necessary information to understand the root cause of the error. Feel free to jump in at any time and ask any questions you may have. And while the last 2 episodes, we've gone 90 minutes, I'm going to try to keep this to an hour. Uh-oh, let's see. What is it saying? I've added the detailed logging to the public experience page. Now I need you to go to the shared URL that was causing the error and open the browsers. Okay, so here's what it wants me to do. Here's the page we're looking at. And I'm going to go to the browser console. And the first thing I'm going to do is clear it out. So I hit this little trash can and I got to the browser's console by hitting F12. And I'm simply going to tell this to refresh. And whatever error came up, we should see the results of that here. Okay, so what it's saying is, for me to understand what you're doing, Jeffrey, I need you to give me these errors because they're not showing up in your other logs. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing and I'm going to paste it in here and send it. And now it's going to do its analysis of it. Okay. When you're putting one of these applications together, a significant application, I'm not talking about, I could create a solar calculator just using AI and walk it through, in 5 or 10 minutes, right? But when you're going to create a significant application that you're going to sell to somebody else, and it's not simple, it's going to take some back and forth. Can anybody tell me what the advantage of that is? No one? No one wants to speak up? Okay, well, here it is. When you're doing something like this, you want it to be hard enough that other people won't do it, but not so hard that you won't do it. That's your defensive moat. Okay, so you can get this entire application together. And as I showed you just a moment ago, an application that they're charging hundreds of dollars a month for. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, there isn't anything in their list of stuff that I couldn't add to the experiences this already has and make a much more significant tool out of it. And so what if I did go out and say, okay, I'm going to sell lifetimes for $297, and I did that for 2 or 3 months until the word got out there. And then I went to monthlies. Okay. This thinks it's fixed the problem. We don't know if it has. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to that same piece here. I'll close that up and I'm going to, let me open that again so I can clear it. And I'm going to run this. Just refresh the page and see what comes up. Sometimes you'll have 3 or 4 different errors. I see a whole lot less on the page this time than I saw last time. So what's the difference? Well, let's go feed this. To data button and see what it has to say. It's better, but it's not there yet. Now it's calling the stabilizer tool again. It's adding detailed console log statements to the code so that it gets more detail. No fixes will be attempted. This is purely for diagnosis. So it's going through and it's updating code, putting in error checking so that it can see what's happening. Okay, diagnostic logs have been done, so it wants me to do the same thing all over again. So I'm going to come up here like so. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to run the refresh. This is just to tell it what's wrong. It's not telling me it's going to fix it. See how much more code we're getting.
How many times usually does it take before it can fix the problem? I noticed that you always end up fixing it, but is there a lot of different attempts to fix the problem?
Sometimes there's a lot of attempts. Sometimes it gets it right away. I had a situation earlier with this, and this was in the last couple of hours with the recommender where I had some duplicate things being created, some duplicate questions and whatnot. And I says, I've got to be able to delete these. And then I says, I've got to be able to delete the options as well. And it went through and it got the questions the first time, the options the second time. So sometimes it's more effective than others. I'm reminded of, for those of you who've been in SEO for a while, I'm reminded of, there was a point before the caffeine update when we used to make a change on a page and we would wait 8 weeks to see what the results in Google would be. And at that time, they had a subdomain. Instead of www.google.com, it was 4 W's. So you had www.google.com, and it showed you the preview of the upcoming results. And people would go there and try to see, are they going to get it right this time? Anyway, we've just become more impatient over time with everything. They gave us a caffeine update. Now we can see fairly quickly if our changes work. Programming.
I believe that Google, they just stopped showing results, I believe, past the first 10. So I believe that it's going to really harm tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs. Okay.
Right. There are a whole bunch of tools. So the question becomes, are they also going to limit it from the API for the people who are buying the data, right? And if you're
Yeah,
talking about
I believe that,
SEMrush and Ahrefs, can they go through and scrape the data?
yeah, and my own personal thought is that is to harm the other competing AI platforms. I mean, they have to when especially for deep research, when the thing comes up with 50 or 100 or 200 sources, where are they getting that data for the reliable sources? I think they were using Google in the past for those sources. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know, where, ChatGPT is getting their, data from. What's your thoughts on that?
No clue. No clue.
Okay. I went off topic. Sorry. When you mentioned SEO, my ears peaked up.
Yeah, yeah. I got this email earlier today. I'm sure you guys get them all the time, of somebody offering to SEO your site, how they can get you to the top of the Google search engines. And I'm kind of new to that whole SEO thing. I didn't get started till 1997. So, and I've since I've abandoned SEO. I mean, I go ahead and I optimize, but I don't count on it for anything because of the way Google has behaved. Let's see, did this find the problem? All right, it's going through and it's fixing what it believes is wrong. So I was very tempted. To send them a message and say, you realize that you're selling something that you don't own. How do you sell Google results if you don't own them? It's like why credit card companies don't like to work with travel agents, because you don't own the hotel room you're selling and you don't own the airline tickets that you're selling. Those are the airlines. They're happy to process it for the airlines and for the hotel. Okay. This says that this should be fixed. We'll see if it's lying to us, which it frequently does. And we'll just do it again. I have been considering doing a video course of a single application from the very beginning to the very end. And the question becomes, how much do I need to do in the middle of that, right? Do I need to show you that this actually took 15 rounds to fix? Or is it sufficient to say there were multiple rounds of this troubleshooting and we kept repeating this process until it came back and gave us the answer? How about some feedback on that? Because you could end up with 40,
is that
40
for
hours.
the company to look at, or is that for, what's the purpose of doing that, Jeff?
That would be for the people in this group.
So they didn't get frustrated when they keep trying to fix
No, so that they could see it from one end to the other to see what really goes on. So know whether something is normal or not. If you have no point of reference.
Yeah, you could just say, hey, it took 17 tries before it finally fixed it or something.
And sometimes when I've come up with the technique, I'll go ahead and share with you guys. But sometimes, and this is just very common when you're working with databases and JavaScript, where you fix something and it breaks something else. Okay. And so, and you can go crazy with that. And we've been going crazy with, for those of you who are familiar with Chirply, we built something to replace Chirply. Chirply is no longer available. And what we have does a lot more than Chirply. But as we're going along, all of a sudden something that was working stops working. Well, over here on the left-hand side, you'll see, I'll just show you the representation. You'll see these shields here, and then you'll see these locks. And when you have these locks and the shield, this is on the giveaway. We have a giveaway experience, and this is locking out the code so that the AI can't touch it. And so what I do is I get each of these done. I go in and I try to lock out all the files that are unique to that particular experience so that they can't be screwed up. Okay, so it's asking me if I want to mark this done again. So let me come back again.
Jeff, there's I know very little about what we're doing here, but there's this platform called Replit, I think it is. And
very familiar with it.
They're just released something like version 3 that they say this thing can go in the background and just debug and debug and debug on its own without running your credits up.
Oh, okay, you said something kind of magic there, right? You said without running your credits up. How would it possibly do that? I would love, I used Replit before I used DataButton. Okay. And the thing that scared me about Replit was it had a very complicated, scenario for figuring out how much it was going to cost you every month to run your SaaS, right?
I could have misspoke there.
Go ahead.
Maybe it didn't say without running your credits up. It just said you had all these extra tasks or credits or something where it did this automatically, and the automatically might be the key phrase that I'm thinking of here.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think what they're saying is that they can go off in the background and keep working on it without you being there. Okay. that it'll keep doing it. And DataButton doesn't do that. DataButton periodically, it almost looks like it's trying to slow me down in that it will say, do you believe we're on the right path? Do you want to continue on this course of action? Right. And that kind of annoys me when it does it. But DataButton has a tier. They actually have 2 tiers that are unlimited tokens. Okay, unlimited credits, however you want to look at it. And Replit doesn't offer that. So when I first came over to DataButton, they had a deal where you could get 1,000 tokens for $200. And it'd be $200 every month for this 1,000 tokens. So the system comes along. This isn't behaving properly. The system will come along and make recommendations to you. Hey, would you like to do this? And I says, it asked me about something, and I said, that sounds kind of cool. Let me give that a shot. Sure. And it goes into doing it, and it generated something that had an error. And it was running through, and maybe they're better at it now. I'm sure they are. But it burned up 300 of my tokens, my credits, on this one feature that wasn't even important to me. You follow me? I mean, and that was on DataButton. So a couple days later, they came out and they offered 20% off what was their unlimited tier, 50% if I paid for the year. So I took that 20%, and I think they've been regretting that ever since, because they've raised their price and I'm still on the old. So I'll say it to the people on this call. Their unlimited tier at that time was $500 a month. So I got it for $400. Their unlimited tier has gone up. The lowest unlimited tier has gone up to $700 a month. And you figure if $200 is 1,000 credits, which it still is if you're paying 20 cents a credit. Last month, I used over 7,000 credits. So figure I used about $1,400 worth of credits off of this. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and send it whatever's over here. It's not an error or anything, but in fact, that's kind of useless information. But I'll give it to it anyway. And let's see if there's anything down here in the logs. Ooh, okay. That can be significant. This little paintbrush here will clear out whatever you have. By the way, I still have a Replit account. I got it when it was they had a special running, and it was $10 a month if you paid for the year. And that same account is now $25. So I get $25 in credits every month. But with this being unlimited, I haven't really had a good reason to take advantage of it. All right, let's try this again. I just want to generate new error logs on what I was just looking at. This won't change. This won't change. But any error logs I have on the other sides will be related to this. Okay, this stuff here.
It actually fixed part of it. You could see the question loading. So your text has changed on the UI.
You picked up on, you mean this here?
Question. Yeah.
I thought that's what it said before. Oh, you mean the
Where you
word
had
question now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's gone a bit. It's too bad you can't set it recursively to use a certain number of clients. I'm sorry, a certain number of tokens.
Well, see, it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't matter because I'm unlimited.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Now it's going to go through and read all of its logs, and we'll see if it finds a place. I see this is my fault, blah, blah, blah. The component is therefore trying to find, blah, blah, blah. I will correct by updating, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's see what you do. Yeah, I'm tempted to, because that $25 is just going to waste every month, right? And I thought, well, does Replit do, as an example, would Replit do, could you go to Replit and have it write in PHP for you? I don't know. But if it would, maybe I could use it to do WordPress plugins. Okay, it's asking me if I want to mark this as complete, which means, once again, it thinks everything's okay. This changed. Let's see what we got here. It didn't go through the question series.
Are you able to change the underlying LLM to Claude code?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Yeah, can you change the underlying LLM, large language model, to Claude Code? Are you able to do that in this in data button? Did they
Yes,
allow you?
and I'll show you that in just a moment.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is where this gets, for me, not for most people, but for me, it gets a little ugly. So watch this. Down here, I can change this between Gemini 2.5, Quad 4 Sonnet, and GPT-5. Okay. However, after I used 7,000 plus credits last month, they said, in order for us to stay in business, Jeffrey, we're going to have to limit you unlimited guys to the first 1,500 credits of Claude. You can use all the Gemini and all the GPT-5 you want, but Claude, we're going to have to limit it to the first 1,500. And I responded to him. That doesn't really bother me. I would go back and forth between Claude and Gemini. As one got stuck, I would move to another one. So I wasn't really bothered by that, but I said it may be false economics because Claude does a better job on front ends. And Gemini is better for more complex things, but has a tendency to complicate simple things. And so Claude is 1.5 times more expensive on the output. And it's, I'm sorry, it's 0.5 times more expensive on the output. And it's 1.4 times more expensive on the input. So, because it may take you additional evolutions to get something done, you may be spending as much money anyway. Does that make sense? This is what I tried to explain to them. So right now I'm using the Gemini 2.5. Now over here where it says I'm unlimited, this will tell you how many credits I've used so far. And my credits are about to turn over in the next 24 hours, but I'm already up to almost 6,000 this month. Better than last month, but still quite a bit. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just thought it might be able to solve it a bit quicker.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, and I think it probably would.
Yeah.
And in 24 hours, I may be able to try that out. Okay. Let's see. When I use the shared results, I get, oh, let's get down to the bottom here. It's not going through the questions. The experience is not complete. Well, that didn't help me, but what was it?
Passing the question ID for whatever reason, it's not passing it as expected. So you get the 200 saying, hey, we've processed it, but you never passed us anything.
Right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go like this. Little trick I do. I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm going to come back to data button. And I'm going to say, instead of getting a series of questions, I am getting what you see in the image. And then I'll come down here and just tell it to grab the picture. Say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Let's find out. It stopped mid-sentence in its explanation. Gotta love it. Okay. While the data is now being loaded correctly, it's not being displayed. Well, fix it. And yes, this can be frustrating, but that is your defensible moat. Are there any other pilots? Go ahead.
How many times when you tell it to give it a task, does it actually perform it properly, Jeff? Like 1 out of 2, 1 out of 5?
I couldn't tell you that. I couldn't tell you that. I mean, you know, a lot of times it looks like everything's going and I just keep moving forward, right? And then I come back testing and then I said, okay, that's not exactly the way I wanted it. And I got to tell it to make a change.
Okay. I'm just
wanting
to know what to expect when I start actually doing stuff like this.
Yeah. Are there any other pilots on the call? I will tell you that flying a plane is very easy, right? But learning to fly is not very easy. And somebody who doesn't know what to expect is what you're looking for there, Ron. Somebody who doesn't know what to expect. Here's 2 things that are going to happen. If they're using a plan where they're paying by the credit or they're buying, 1,000 credits at a pop, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to be concentrating on, oh, look at those credits disappearing. I mean, I remember when I was watching it during that first time, it looked like the wheels on a slot machine spinning. It was pretty bad. All right, let's see here. Okay, once the developer console information again. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to refresh one more time. Okay, while we're waiting on this to do its analysis on this, let me reiterate how the rules of this game are played. Okay, when I first started this project, I asked some people who were on the call. I said, I have a task that needs to be done, and legitimately, it would have taken somebody about 10 minutes to do the task. It wasn't as complicated as this, but it could have been. And had somebody stood up and said, okay, I'll take that. When we got done with this project, they would have been entitled to get a copy of it into their own data button accounts. All right. So somebody could have got a hell of a piece of software, and it could have been multiple somebodies, and maybe it's people on the team who are testing it. Okay. The point being, the reason I did the school membership at at $7 is because if somebody won't lay $1 down, they're just a freebie seeker. What do I care about $7? I truly don't, right? And I don't really care about if I'm willing to give the software away to begin with. But I want somebody to have some type of vested interest in their effort and what they can contributed to the whole thing. So this is something to keep in mind as we move forward. There is a way for you guys built off of my account. You could get yourself a xaeh, and then you can take your own data button account and add it or deviate off into your own direction, or resell it the way it is, spending enough credits to change the name. All right, I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna refresh this and see if it comes up this time. I'm getting the same image. But imagine if there were 10 or 12 of us that were working on this, and each person just takes their turn, and I give you there's a way that you can bring somebody in as a, go ahead and show you. What's the word they use? Collaborator. I can bring people in as a collaborator. And so you may be assigned, as an example, task MYA 138, and it will allow you to come in and do that. You'll be able to log in and you just work on that single task until you get that going. And it hasn't cost you anything, but you got the opportunity to learn. Personally, I think it's a hell of a deal. Okay, let's come back and test this again. And this can get frustrating. I have a secret weapon to overcome this frustration. It's called, I have 2 young ladies in the Philippines that work for me, and I have them remote in and let them keep going through it until they get past it. Some might consider that cheating. I don't know.
Hey, Jeffrey, is this hosted on GitHub? So let's say, you could figure out what the issue is. You could make the change, test it out, and then push it back.
You mean if I wanted to go and work on it manually coding?
Yeah.
They're using GitHub, but I don't access it through GitHub. What I can do, if I really wanted to, I could put up my own. This has its scenario in GitHub. I can also go through. There's no reason if you were going to put it on GitHub and you were going to go manually code. Let me show you something. Okay.
And then you could roll back if you don't like the changes.
Well, still can. I mean, here's all the as it's gone on and we've been doing this, it's been saving all of the changes, right? And then I'll go through and I'll manually put a save in and I'll name it something so that I know exactly where it's going to go to. All right. And I've been able to take this back a month, right? And then there's a deploy up here, and when you're deploying it, you get the option of doing a full deploy or restoring to whatever the deployed version is. So there's a lot of play there in what you can do. I'll also tell you, if you're using Data Button, you're better off getting your domains from Namecheap than from GoDaddy. This is the one that I got from GoDaddy, and I ended up having to put it on a subdomain, right?
Mhm.
If I had done it from Namecheap, it would have been just on the interactify.org. Okay, so let me get off of this. Yeah. Did we have any change in this since I was here? I got involved in that conversation. I'm going to put this in perspective for you. I have done, let me go through and show you. I can open up another data button instance while this is going. I went through these on the first day, but I'm going to talk a little bit about this now. Okay, so here's the one we're working on, right? OmniFlow. This is to replace for Chirply for those of you that know what Chirply is, but this could replace call center software. All right, this is the this was a clone of Interactify. eCard Vibe, this is a digital business card software. So it's already done, finished. This is something I'm working with a guy. It's in Chinese, and it has to do with using the Line app with beauty parlors. Same thing here. Okay. Is anybody here familiar with Brilliant Directories? We recreated their functionality. They were on AppSumo for a while, but if you go to them and you want to put up a single directory, because of all of their functionality, they're $145 a month. We've recreated that with Premier Directories. Okay. Repute Flow. This was duplicating a reputation management software where you can put code on a site, it'll collect reviews, and then it only shows back those that are of a certain star standard that you set up, right? This is a nursing home application that I did. If you guys were part of Tier 5, you may remember something called Use Link Wizard, a very useful link management tool. And we created all of the functionality of that and then some in our LinkFlow Pro. This flight desk, this is a piece of software I did that manages flight schools. I used to own a flight school, so I kind of knew what was needed, right? And have an interest in it. So I went ahead and I created this. For those of you, some of you already have Instant Author. This is my book writing software. It is, as far as I've been able to find, it is the most advanced, most feature rich, most powerful book writing software on the market. And some of these are clones of this stuff. This is the only one I'm not really proud of, this Page Flow Studio. It creates flip books, but they don't look as good as one that I've already bought. Okay. So I have covered about 8 different softwares there, roughly. And with the exception of the book writing software, Every one of those has been done in the last 3 months. So figure I've completed 7 in 3 months, and every one of these would have taken a team of coders, you know, going back 3 years, would have taken a team of coders a year to write. That's how far we've come in our use of AI for development. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Your feedback on what you see on that page is a critical next step. Okay. Please navigate to this test page and observe the results. All right, so it's created this test page, recommender-test-page. So let's see if we can do that. This recommender test page. Yep, that's the one. And I'm going to take a picture of this and send it to it. By the way, if anybody decides to get Data Button, let me know before you do. I have an affiliate link and a coupon code that'll save you 20%. Okay, I will now apply a single targeted fix. All right, so what it's doing is it's stepping through trying different things to figure out why this isn't showing up. Would you like to mark this as fixed? It says the task is not complete. Well, is it? I actually like these kind of problems because I don't have to do much. I can come over here and say reload this and see if it shows up fixed. Okay, here we go. Do you want to stay longer than 90 days? Well, I don't see a place to put my answer. Are you over 50 years old? Are you married to a Thai? Get recommendation. Okay. So the problem here is by the way, this doesn't care about misspellings. Now, when I did that just now, it didn't actually come up with a recommendation. So I know that's going to be a step after I get past this. But you guys can see how this is a matter of going through and stepping through the process to get each bit of functionality that you want. And so we got to the point where that link actually produces the questions, but it didn't give us a place to put in our answers. Sometimes when you think you're missing something like that, what'll actually be missing is the font colors may be wrong. She may have black text on a black background. And so what I do just to rule that kind of stuff out is I'll just hold down to my mouse key and run over it and see if there's a box I can't see. That's not the case here. So let me kill this. I'm over here. The diagnostic logs have been added. Please open a browser console, refresh the page. Okay, so let's see. It's telling me I should see some kind of debug. Here's the debug over here. This must be the final fix. There are no other possibilities. Yeah, if you say so. The recommender player will now work. This task has caused you an unacceptable amount of frustration and waste of time, and for that I'm truly sorry. Let's see. Let's see if that's true. Sometimes I notice that when I walk away from it because I've told it to fix something and I've reached my appropriate level of frustration. Um, I come back and it actually is fixed. I still have and it dawns on me, probably should be in the form of a drop down. Oh, it's using a radio group. Okay, here I can stop it and I can say a radio group would be fine, but I do not see a radio group. What a radio group is you'll have like boxes you can check or buttons you can dot. I'm not telling it you have to do something other than a radio group. I'm saying I can't see a radio group. All right. I'm not going to force you folks to watch me do this. Let me hit the stop presenting so we don't get the screen of the screen of the screen. All right. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Jeffrey. Hi, it's Claudette. Where are all the replays and how do I um, hook up with you guys? I don't have a link.
Okay, let me go and get you one. And bless you for asking.
All right.
Let's see. Last week's replay didn't get posted, but it did get recorded. So I will get that. I will get that taken care of on Monday when Sheena comes in. And settings. This will give you a week for free. So if you just want to catch the replay so far, you can do that. After that, it'll charge you $7 a month. Let's go back to our Google Meet. Where's our chat? There you go, Claudette.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Are there any other questions? Don't be shy. All right, let me tell you what my strategy on this is. There are, the chances that you come up with something that's useful and that it's a mega hit are probably, let's say, 1 in 10. Okay. So if you create 20 SASs, you're probably going to have 2 of them that make significant money for you. And the others will, it'll be nice. It'll be the little extra something that comes in, right? But if you're looking for something to help fund your retirement, and where you can really do well is look at your own occupations, look at where your expertise is, and look at where you have domain information that the person on the outside doesn't. So what problems need to be fixed and how they can be fixed. And that's got real value to it. When you can narrow down like that, like as an example, flight schools, when you can narrow down to something like that and say, yeah, I know it's needed here. I'm not stabbing in the dark. If you go back and you watch the very first video, you'll see how I go through and choose markets, and then and I use AI to do it, and how I use AI to generate the functional descriptions in the requirements document that I feed to Data Button, and what I do after that. So I think there's some real value there. Brian, did you get anything of value out of this today? Still muted. Jewel? Reggie?
I have a question.
I have an answer.
All right. As a member of your group, your SaaS Mentor Lab, will we have access to all the programs you've already done, software you've already done?
Not by default, no. The deal there is, rather than buy those individually, you can get access to everything that's there and everything I build going forward for, I forget if it's $97 or $99 a month.
Okay, great. That's what I need to know. All right,
Okay,
thank you. Hmm.
you're welcome. No questions at this time. Okay, Jewel. Fair enough. There's a page. I'm going to share it with you. If I can find it easily enough, let's see. And it's supposed to get updated each week. And updated kind of late this week. Give me just a moment. Well, I've already stopped the screen share, so I guess I can just pull this up. Let's see. Bear with me just a moment. I want to get you a URL. Excuse me. Okay, there we go. This URL here, it changes each week. The URL stays the same, but the Google information changes each week. We do this every week at 2 p.m. on Saturdays. And this is the website where you can find that information. And I think it gives you it also gives you the whole story about what we're doing here, about what your benefits of belonging for $7 a month are. I see you lurking in the background, Tim. Well, if there are no further questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I will continue the work. So those of you who go back and watch the replays won't have to